Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos.
Another Thursday morning in the month of September. It's an indication that the weekend is almost upon us, and I will not pretend like I'm not excited about the weekend. The girl likes her rest. But then let's focus on the work at hand. Good morning to you. Welcome to Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. A very, very eventful week. I dare say eventful month, or please, it's been a very, very eventful year for the majority of us, at least up until this very point. And we're glad that we have the opportunity to keep you up to speed, to keep you updated, to keep you aware of things happening in your environment and even beyond, as we have shows that cater to your needs when it comes to information about both local and international stories. My name is Sage Babalola. You're listening to Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. And we are about to kick off the first segment of the breakfast show this morning. We'll call it Trends in the Papers. Basically, what we want to do is have a quick look at our dailies, talk about the stories that made it to the front page, read out these stories to you, provide you with more information by means of analysis, and we definitely already have our in-house analyst on standby to help give you deeper insight into some of the stories that we would be reviewing this morning on Trends in the Papers. Again, you are listening to Mainland 98.3 FM. They call us the sound of Lagos. My name is Sage Babalola. Please be aware that joining us via the radio is not the only way you can participate. If you're on social media, you could definitely connect with us. Go to Facebook, go to YouTube. We are live. Mainland 98.3 FM is how you will locate us on those streaming platforms. You can also join us via Radio Garden from any part of the world that you are. Connect with us via Radio Garden, search for Mainland 98.3 FM, and you can also stream live. Let's get straight into conversations for today. But before then, let's say hello to Fuad. Good morning to you, Fuad. Thank you for being here.
Good morning, Sage. How are you doing?
Very well. Thank you. I hope you're doing great as well.
I'm fine. I'm good.
All right. So let's get into the stories for this morning. The Punch newspaper, we're going to start with the Punch and then probably move to the Guardian. In no particular order, we'll just be reviewing the paper as the stories come. So first story we have here on the front page of the Punch newspaper. The story reads, ASUU parents protest as more varsities hike fee. That's our story for this morning. And with regards to the riders to this story, we have prevail on universities to reverse fee increase. PTA tells Tinubu, fears mass dropout. Lecturers slam federal government over poor funding. Students will take to cybercrime. Parents warn. So let's have a quick look at the body of the story before we start to analyze it. As tertiary institutions across the country begin a new session next week, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, parents and students started protest as more varsities continue to hike their fees amid a worsening economy. ASUU, as well as the Association of Parents and Students, have warned about the likelihood of mass dropouts following the hike in fees by the universities across the country. So they gave us something of a breakdown about universities and how much they have increased their fees to. And because of our time, I'll just look at two universities. And when you read the full report, you can have a fuller understanding of the story. Now, according to management, new students being admitted into the College of Health Sciences and Faculty of Pharmacy are to pay 190,200, while returning student who paid 28,000 in the last academic session would have to cough out 128,200. And now there's a statement also about students in the faculties of Arts, Law and Humanities would pay 151,200, and returning students to the same faculty would pay as much as 89,200 naira. Now this is the payment method for Obafemi Awolowo University in Ile-Ife, Osun State. I would love to read out the universities and the increments, but we're working with time right now.
Take some of them.
Okay, we should take it. Okay, let's do that then. So I just read to you Obafemi Awolowo University. So let's read for. Oh, it's just the different departments. A student being admitted to the faculties in the College of Health Science will pay 190 as opposed to the 89,000 28,000 that they were paying before. I'm trying to pick out all the other universities here. They're scattered. Okay. Other universities, I found it. Other universities that hiked their fees include the Federal University of Health Sciences, University of Maiduguri, the Federal University Dutse, the Federal University Lafia, University of Uyo, Michael Okpara University of Agriculture, Umudike, amongst others. So they really gave a breakdown for Lagos State and Obafemi Awolowo University in Osun State. Now, the breakdown of the fee structure indicated that the first-year student of faculties of social sciences, I'm talking about Unilag now, will pay as much as 110,000 naira and 85,000 naira for 200 and 300 level students. Then, final year students will pay 83,000 naira as opposed to the 28,000 that was initially being paid, amongst others. So far, these are very hefty increases, and it would seem like the plea, the protest, amongst other things, by the students to help cut down these increases has fallen on deaf ears. We have about 10 universities now that has followed the path of the University of Lagos and have increased their fees from as much as 28,000, 18,000 naira to over 100, bordering 200,000 naira, and the reactions have been very heartbreaking. And now, Fuad, I'm going to ask you the question. With this new initiative that is being proposed by the federal government to grant financial autonomy to federal universities, do we at all hope to see a reversal of any kind to this hike in school fees?
Well, that's left for the government to sort out. The policies of the government, I've always said it, and I'll repeat the same thing. The governance outlook of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu seems to be about the figures, not really about the people. I think they are looking too much at figures. I think he has surrounded himself with a group of bourgeoisie who are extremely capitalist in their orientation, and all they see are just figures. I think time will tell. These are empty figures. They are empty figures for the poor and vulnerable.
Right.
For the poor of the poor, those are very, very heavy figures. But for, the rich and affluent, for the politicians and their associates, for very corrupt civil servants who are able to live beyond their salaries and wages, who have other means of making money, those are not real figures. And so you find some of those people coming on radio to tell you that, look, if you want quality tertiary education, that's not expensive. Go to other countries, how much are they paying? They are quick to give examples of countries like the US and the UK, forgetting that the peculiarities of those countries, in terms of governance and the dividends of democracy, is not the same as that of ordinary Nigerians, who, in reality, from our democratic experience and experiment, practically benefited nothing from government. What they see is the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. And you have a system that is gradually stifling out a thriving middle class. Just as I told Sandra, I think a day or two ago, said that the same set of people who benefited heavily from free and qualitative education, during the Papa Awolowo era, and the likes of Nnamdi Azikiwe, Ahmadu Bello, and the rest. And it was not just free education, say. At all levels, you had what is called free and qualitative education. The same set of people that benefited from that era are the people sitting and formulating policies to ensure that the children of the poor does not have access to good education in Nigeria at all levels. Because again, if you talk about tertiary education, go and look at government-funded schools at primary and secondary schools and look at the quality of education that you find in those schools. The reason why every parent in Nigeria now, whether poor or middle class, struggle to get their kids into private schools is that, look, the level of education in those schools is completely poor. But I think one of our callers, when we had the same conversation this week, said something that is instructive, quoting what the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo said at that time. That, look, let the politicians continue to ensure that people are not educated. But they must be aware of one thing. And it's already happening across the country. Say, the level of insecurity we have in the country today is not unconnected with the fact that a lot of our youth are not educated. And so they get frustrated with the system and so decide to go into the deep world, to make a living for themselves. So they join criminality. And what did the late state said at that time? That look, the children of the poor that you people refuse to educate, you take your children abroad, you steal government money, they are all over the world getting degrees, with the hope that after they get all of those degrees in the world, or they go to very expensive private schools in Nigeria, you will use the same system that they have used to stifle out children of the poor, to bring them back home, plant them into governance so that they can rule over the children of the poor. So that oligarchy continues. They don't know that the children of the poor who are not educated will now give those people problems. The children of the poor who don't have access to quality education today will go into the trenches, they go into the bushes, they become bandits, they become kidnappers, they become terrorists, who now terrorize the children of the poor. So nobody is safe at the end of the day if they don't understand. I'm going to say, just in less than 6 months of the life of a government, you remove fuel subsidy, you float the naira against the dollar. Importation, what's it called? Duty, import duty has gone through the roof. Go and ask any importer how much they now need to clear their goods. You are already muting, an extensive tax structure on the people. And in the middle of that again, quietly you go into the public health sector. It is now extremely expensive. A lot of people are not saying it because they don't even take their people to the hospital again when they get sick. We took that report recently too.
Yeah.
That because of how expensive prescription drugs are and the cost of getting medical care, even in public hospitals, people are now taking their people to Alagbo and all these spiritual homes. A lot of them died here. So the same thing is now going to happen to tertiary education. You know what happened in the past with education thing? This same set of politicians killed primary education. They made it worthless. And in doing that, they created private schools for their children. The same thing happened to secondary education. Say I went to a public secondary school. As I speak to you, I cannot take my children to a public secondary school again because of how bad the quality of education is at that level. They have gradually now extended that same strategy to tertiary education in Nigeria. A lot of these politicians already have private universities. If they don't have, their associates and cronies have private universities, extremely expensive universities, where children are made to pay millions of naira for tertiary education. So the one that is for the poor has now become a problem. So they are already muting the idea of financial autonomy for universities. I guess there's already a silent memo to those universities, to tinker with what students are paying. They will tell you that tuition is free, but you've increased all sundry fees.
Yeah.
To the point where a student that is paying 20-something thousand would have to pay 190-something thousand. Sage, let them continue. That's what I will say. But again, this morning, the words of Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the late say, keeps ringing in my head. That the children of the poor that these people refuse to educate will give their own children serious problems going forward. Let them continue.
Well, Fuad, the fears is that we might see mass dropouts, we might see students taking up cybercrime, amongst other things. The implications.
When Hausa say Doli, that one is confirmed. A lot of people will drop out. Say, I know people that the only reason why they are very brilliant children, well-behaved children, are in the university because to great extent, university education is heavily subsidized.
Right.
This new price regime we are talking about, say, a lot of those children will be withdrawn from those schools. They will become dropouts. They will become bandits. They will become kidnappers. They will become armed robbers. They will become cyber fraudsters. And whether they like it or not, these same politicians will suffer it because they will not be able to sleep with their two eyes closed. That's the way to destroy a society. Say, go and look at societies who developed over the years. I'm talking about underdeveloped societies that eventually became, powerful nations of the world. The likes of Malaysia, Taiwan, Singapore, even almighty China, and the rest. Look, the first thing they did was to ensure that their people are educated. They created platforms for free and qualitative education from primary to tertiary education for their people, because they know that the foundation of development is in getting people properly educated. They also suspect a conspiracy against the people by these politicians and our leaders. Don't get them educated so that they can't challenge you. They don't know their rights. They are not exposed. They are not wise to begin to demand for their rights. If that is their strategy, let us see what will come out of all of that strategy. I say it again, the children of the poor, they fail to educate now by their actions and inactions. It will become a problem for all of us tomorrow. I say we are in this country together. Let's keep watching.
Page 2 of the Punch newspaper is where you get more information regarding that report. We're still reviewing the Punch newspaper. More headlines here. Manufacturers slash output, jobs over Forex crisis. This is on page 9 of the Punch newspaper. We have here the scarcity of foreign exchange is hitting hard on manufacturers in the country. This is according to findings by the Punch. As a result, manufacturers have been faced with the burden of cutting production, jobs, and raw material imports. The value of items imported under the category of industrial supplies have declined by 480 billion naira as manufacturers struggled with forex scarcity. I mean, we don't need to read any further to understand what's going on here. For what the forex crisis has also started to affect the manufacturing industry, which was supposed to be something of a fallback plan for us, especially since we've been trying to diversify our economy and up production in the country. While producers, manufacturers are not having a field day at this moment. They're cutting jobs, they're minimizing their staff, they're cutting down on importation of raw materials, amongst other things. And it's a no-brainer that the economy is about to plunge even further. What is your analysis of the situation?
Sage, we already said it. We're moving towards another round of recession in the country. And with that recession comes far-reaching implications. I even have my doubts that we are going to be able to get out of that recession very fast. If manufacturers are struggling to produce, they are cutting down production. What that naturally means is that our economy will suffer, unemployment will go up, and that again makes it a complete comic relief from the MBS to be saying unemployment figures are 4.1%.
Yeah,
it's just a complete joke. It's nonsensical. It doesn't make any sense. So again, because we don't need to trivialize sensitive matters like this. You just said it all, Sage. This is the time we are hoping that, look, the manufacturing sector can get some form of boost and serve as an alternative to whatever we are earning or the structure of our economy. And if we can't produce, it means that, again, unemployment will go up, the living standards of the people will drop. And manufacturers have been saying this, Sage, that, look, the forex crisis is hampering a lot of things for them. A lot of the raw materials they use for production, say, are still imported, and now that there's serious forex scarcity, they have to go to the black market to store for very expensive dollars at expensive rates to import and all of that. But that is the problem, As a manufacturer, for example, your overhead goes up because you are paying heavily for diesel. There's no power to power your plants and machinery. Now you don't have to look for very expensive dollars, to bring in raw materials and all of that. So you produce a good, it's not very expensive because people cannot afford it.
Yeah.
So even when you produce, the goods remain too long in the shelf. The bottom line, your bottom line as a company depletes completely. So what you are going to do naturally is either to shut down the factory completely, because you cannot be running at loss.
Yeah.
It's not a charity, it's not a government venture. So it's either you shut down your factory, close it down completely, and maybe divert your little remaining capital to something else, or you lay off staff, you just find a way to remain in business. And being in business is that you reduce your number of staff, or you cut down their salaries and do all manner of things. So like you said, it's a no-brainer. This story speaks for itself. There's no need to waste too much time on it. Again, the reality of Nigerians as a result of government policy that I think was not well thought out. That's just the reality.
Thank you very much, Fuad. Page 32, page 9 rather of the Punch newspaper is where you get details. Page 9. Moving forward, we have here slain soldiers, over 6,000 family members to get insurance claim. That is on page 32 of the Punch newspaper. Let's look at that particular story very briefly. No fewer than 6,732 relatives of personnel of the Nigeria Army would benefit from the group life insurance claim. ordered by the President Bola Tinubu. The beneficiaries are relatives of those killed while in service between 2011 and 2022. The Director, Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Onyema Onwachukwu, disclosed this during an interview with correspondent. The Chief of Army Staff, General TʀᴇɪＲ Bᴜᴜ, has also disclosed that Tinubu had directed all pending group life assurance payment owed to families of departed personnel to be paid without delay. So far, this is just the federal government catering to, slain personnel of the army.
Families.
Yes, they're trying to, and also the premiums that are being owed by the families. The president apparently has cleared the backlog, I beg your pardon, and has ordered that these insurance claims be paid. That's a good thing.
That's a good one. Yeah, I think it's a morale booster again for our soldiers who are in the battlefield trying to protect us all. So that's a good one, a very good one, because again, a lot of soldiers who are still in active service, our armed personnel will tell you that, there's a need for government to boost their morale by some of these things, ensure that, if anything happens to them, their families are well taken care of.
Yeah.
And these are their rights. These are things that naturally should go to them. These are insurance benefits that should ordinarily go to them without any delay. And it's good that that instruction has now been given. So that's a good one. I think it's a very good one.
All right. Page 32, like I said before, is where you find that story. If you're just joining us, this is Trends in the Papers on Mainland 98.3 FM. We're reviewing the Punch newspaper. We're live on Facebook and YouTube, Mainland 98.3 FM. Once you go to Facebook, you punch that in, Mainland 98.3 FM, or YouTube, and you would immediately connect with us in the studio. There's the live chat option, so when we start to take contributions, you can take advantage of that particular option. So we're going back to reviewing the papers right now. We're still looking at the Punch newspaper, like I said before. My name is Sage Babalola, and Fuad Side is here with me to give analysis. Page 7 of the Punch newspaper tells us that the federal government predicts heavy rainfall, flooding in 48 towns. That is the story. Now, it reports that heavy rainfall could lead to flooding, and it would hit 48 towns in 13 states, beginning from September 13 to September 17, 2023. This is what the federal government have announced on Wednesday. They've disclosed that the flood prediction report of the National Flood Early Warning System has said that 13 states, including Kano, Kebbi, Katsina, Niger, Kwara, Zamfara, Bauchi, Taraba, Borno, Adamawa, Yobe, Jigawa, and Gombe are some of the states that would be the most hit. For more flood warnings, are you satisfied with the proactiveness of the government in trying to cater to the needs of those in states that are predicted to be the worst hit as a result of the floods?
Honestly, Sage, I think that we still don't have a very functional emergency response system in the country to the issues of natural disaster like this. I think that we need to pay attention to what is happening in other parts of the world. At least we thank God that ours is not as bad. If you understand what I'm saying, our own natural disaster occurrences are not as intense or as bad as some of those other countries. Look at what has just happened in Morocco.
Yeah. Look
at what is happening in Libya. Libya, just because of a dam breaking down and flooding a community. There are predictions that more than 10,000 Libyans will die as a result of that incident. As we speak, the figures are already about 5,000 people.
6,000 victims have been buried in mass graves.
Okay,
the report is even here.
I was looking at the footage on CNN yesterday. Saying the morgues are filled up, the hospitals are filled up, even the graveyards are filled up.
Mass burials now.
Mass burials going on now. People are on the street, dead bodies all littering the streets in Libya there, just as a result of occurrences like this. And that's why it's important that we have to pay attention to these things. And the whole community was flooded. They said it was like a tsunami kind flooding. And now we have, like you have just said, 6,000 people already buried. More are still missing. I think the last count was that about 15,000 people are missing in that community as we speak. So they are thinking that, look, if they are missing after 2 or 3 days of that incident, most likely they are dead. So we need to pay attention to these things. These things would always come. The issue of global warming is there. We already know about it. So we are not supposed to be talking about flooding again as if it's something new. The rains are going to come. We know when the rains will come. We already know the flood-prone communities of Nigeria. The question is, what are we doing about it? The ecological funds that our governors receive, what are they doing with it? The NEMA, the state emergency response agencies, how well are they equipped? What is their response time? What is the strategy? Do we have enough medical personnel to also work along with them? What's the effort of the NGOs who also get foreign donations to take care of things like this? So I think it has to be an holistic response, saying we have to be more coordinated about these things. The information we are getting from these different states does not make anyone very comfortable. Up till now, people are still living in these flood-prone areas. They have not been relocated from those areas. In fact, in some states, the only thing the government is doing is to announce it to them to leave their homes and move to higher ground. When they leave, where are they going to? Are they supposed to live in the street? Do we have enough camps provided for them to relocate to temporarily? And then when the water is seen, they go back to their homes. So there's really no plan on ground in most of these states. People have been left to their own fate to take care of themselves. Most likely the aged and vulnerable. The aged is the most vulnerable in this community state because they are not going to move very fast. Some of them even have this laid-back attitude as to living their homes and property. And so if they are not careful, the flood will kill them there. So, I just think that we need to be more proactive, we need to be more organized and deliberate about things like this. I think it's a yearly occurrence now and we have to be more prepared.
Thank you very much. Fuad, page 7 of the Punch newspaper. Moving forward, we have here land grabbers' violent return to Lagos leaves trail of blood and death.
When you have a city where touts are dominating everything, you have them everywhere.
Well,
they will go into land grabbing.
Well, the menace...
It's a city of touts now, don't you know, say?
Fuad, the menace of land grabbing is one that has eaten deep into the fabric of Lagos society for several years, yet with no end in sight. Popularly called Omo-Onile, the land grabbers operate with reckless abandon in Lagos State, such that several residents believe that they must have the backing of some persons in authority in carrying out their nefarious activities. The daredevil land grabbers are also in the business of forcefully taking over landed properties from rightful owners and reselling them to the highest bidders. As a matter of fact, Fuad, in this report, they gave examples of real-life experiences of certain individuals who have been assaulted, who have been beaten, who have been swindled, who have been bullied into giving up properties that they acquired legally for fear of their lives. Fuad, is it not a time we start to pay a lot of attention about the operations of street urchins, of certain thugs in the state? They're harassing bus drivers, they're harassing commuters, they're harassing pedestrians, they're harassing property owners, among other things. And like this report said, they continue to be emboldened, and this somehow has become an indication that they have the backings of people in power. Is this a sentiment that is true?
When politicians play politics with everything, a lot of these guys who act as land grabbers are the foot soldiers of our politicians. They live in the community. They are their local foot soldiers. They work with the traditional institutions in those communities. They also have the backing of the security operatives. I'm telling you, I've seen situations where, somebody takes over your land and you go to a police station to report. Before you get there, they sorted. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I said they'll ask you to pay first.
No, they'll not even pay. You will know from what the police people are telling you that something has gone on there. They're already in sync with these people. And so they mess up your case, they tell you to report, they don't do anything about it, so you get frustrated. You understand what I'm saying? So, like the report has clearly put it saying, these guys have the backing of people in government, of security personnel, they have traditional institutions, behind them. No, they are not. So the level of impunity is clear that they are not the brazenness. It's as a result of the backing and support they have from the high and mighty. So you see the impunity. It's not even about land grabbing alone. You want to build your house in Lagos, anywhere in Lagos now. The touts that will come and demand money from you is unbelievable. They come in their numbers, in different groups to come. Not even the local traditional landowners who just touts. If you want to bring in materials into your site, it's a problem. Lagos is trapped. It's almost like a city of touts and miscreants. And that's unfortunate because our politicians who see these guys as their foot soldiers when it comes to politics are purely looking away. They are not doing anything about it. They see those things and they think that, because it benefits them politically. When it's time to snatch ballot boxes, when it's time to intimidate voters, these are the guys they use. So when they now turn on the people, steal their land, harass them when they are doing their legitimate business, the politicians look away And even when the police try to do their job to arrest them, these guys know that the politicians will come and bail them out. They have what they call Babani Bejo. Somebody will come and bail them out. So it's everywhere. In Lagos Island, they are there. In Aja, Lekki, everywhere. It goes to Badagry, go to Agege, everywhere. South, miscreants. And that's a mega city that some people are talking about. Lagos is a mega city of South and miscreants. Is that the kind of Lagos we are talking about? I'm a Lagosian, and I was, as young as I am, saying, I lived in a Lagos that was decent, that was free from miscreants and South. That was all the Lagos I grew to know about. But now, what has Lagos become? You have people running around the streets, the sub-motoring, and you say that is a mega city? No, that's not a mega city. That's a mega slum. So a Lagos cannot be run like that. That cannot be the Lagos that we all desire. So it's unfortunate, but that's it. It is what it is. What can anybody do about it if the authorities are looking away? Say.
Page 3 of the Punch newspaper. Our final headline for this morning on the front page of the Punch: Naira weakens to 950 Naira to $1. Forex scarcity worsens. Just when you think it's about to get better. Now,
what's happening today, Sage? Are you deliberately picking stories that will
I am literally just reading what I'm seeing. That's why I said you think it can't get worse, and then you go to the next story. You go to the next story, and it's just I don't know. Fuad, this is the lineup of stories. Literally the lineup of stories. Yes, I'm taking it according to the reportage. Anyways, let's go on. Naira weakens to 950 Naira to $1. Forex scarcity worsens. Now, the Naira fell further to the dollar on Wednesday after closing at 950 to $1 at the parallel market. Bureau de change operators who spoke to the Punch said Naira had earlier closed at 930 to $1 at the end of operations on Tuesday, was bought and sold for 935 Naira to $1 and then 950 to $1 on Wednesday. Now, here's the interesting part for it. The Association of Bureau de Change Operators of Nigeria has urged the Central Bank of Nigeria to grant Bureau de Change operators digital autonomy to achieve exchange rate convergence. And the president of APCON, Dr. Aminu Gwadabe, has called on the Apex Bank to grant a no objection approval for BDCs to fully go digital on all their operational correspondence. So, Fuad, I mean, the Forex crisis, I really don't know why we are unable to get a handle on this. Despite all the MPC meetings, every single time, everything that has been done, the unification of both the parallel and the official rate, it doesn't seem to be helping at this moment. But the Bureau de Change operators are saying, give us digital autonomy, rather. Let us operate in the digital space, unabated. And maybe we would be able to achieve a sort of convergence between the rate in the parallel market and at the official market. What do you think? A reasonable idea?
Well, I think it's a reasonable idea, but again, say, too many ideas will come to help fix our forex crisis. But say those are just ideas that comes as a result of scratching the surface. All of these things we are doing, they digitalize the BDC operations, do that. Recently NMPC went ahead, crude ahead. They were supposed to get $3 billion to inject into the forex market to make sure that it drops. We are only scratching the surface. See, the reason, the fundamentals, the foundation of our society is there. See, all of these things, yes, I agree. And one of the things they also faulted was the idea of the government floating the Naira against the dollar the way they did, without proper consultation with stakeholders. We've always faulted that idea. These are just taking decisions without proper consultation with stakeholders. And these are stakeholders that would ensure that policies are implemented to the letter. But when you just do it in one full swoop, without brazenness, without any recourse to stakeholders, you are going to run into this mess. Now you have to sit down with those stakeholders that you avoided have an issue. But let us even put that aside. See, we can continue to tinker with policies, ideas, hoping that this will resolve our forex crisis. It will not. See, let anybody quote me anywhere in the world. What we are doing is scratching the surface. We are not dealing with the real issue. Our real issue is that we are not earning enough forex. That's just the real issue. We are not earning enough. And as a result, the little that we are earning, there's too much pressure, too much demand. And so when there's scarcity, say, simple economics, when demand is more than supply, what happens?
Fuad, I'm with you.
When when demand is more than supply, the things will go up now.
Inflation.
The price will go up. You know, you have everybody take, because it's an heavily dollarized economy. See, our economy is still heavily dollarized. We are still largely import dependent. And little things that we can export to make forex, we are not even doing enough.
The manufacturers are complaining now, so
that's what we are saying, that we are not even producing enough. Yesterday we still reviewed it. We are struggling with 1.1 million barrels of crude oil per day.
Oh my God.
So that one is supposed to even be the easiest way out of our forex crisis. At least we can earn enough. The sad part of our oil sector is that, look, the little that we are even earning from the country. So at the end of the day, we are left with nothing. Currently, as a result of the rising crude oil prices, Nigeria is supposed to be smiling to the bank. Our excess food account is supposed to be swelling. Our foreign reserve is supposed to be feeling good. The way that of Saudi Arabia and some other oil-producing nations are going up now. I said it to Sandra yesterday. All those money that Saudi Arabia is using to play, giving to footballers, it's not any money, it's oil money.
Yeah, of course not.
So as an oil-producing nation, the sixth largest oil-producing nation in the world, we are supposed to be smiling to the bank now. We are not supposed to be struggling with forex scarcity now. People have done the right thing. So, give BDC digital operation licenses, tinker with forex policy, go and borrow money from our federal bank and throw it to the forex market. We are only scratching the surface. Those are temporary measures that would not last long. They are not policies or ideas that would endure. And I keep saying it. The solution to our current forex crisis is us doing the hard work. Fix power. Let the manufacturing sector thrive. Let's start to produce again. Diversify our economy. Let agriculture thrive. Fix the problem in the crude oil sector. Let's produce enough. Fight crude oil theft. Fix refineries, whether by selling them or concessioning them. Let us have functional refineries in Nigeria to the extent that we can refine, take care of our local consumption, and then even sell PMS and make money. When we don't do all of that, all of these back and forth thinking with CBN policies, fiscal and monetary policies are just ideas in the book that will not take us anywhere. We need to do the real hard work. As a country, we are not earning enough for it, and the demand is more than supply because we have a heavily dollarized economy. That's our reality.
Thank you very much, Fuad. Page 35 of the Punch newspaper. And that's it for Punch newspaper. We're about to move to the Guardian newspaper. We would like to think that you're joining us via Facebook and YouTube and you're able to see everything going on live in the studio. If you want to join us on Facebook and YouTube, where we're streaming, by the way, it's Mainland 98.3 FM. Just go on those platforms and you would immediately be able to reach us here in the studio. You can also drop live comments by using the live chat option on Facebook and YouTube. When it's time to take contributions, I would personally read those messages live on air. This is Trends in the Papers on Mainland 98.3 FM. We're basically reviewing the newspapers and telling you what is happening in the polity. There's also analysis so that you can really understand these headlines that are being reeled out. My name once again is Sage Babalola, and Fuad Side is also here with me in the studio. Like I said, we're moving to the Guardian newspaper. The top story, unfortunately, is not something interesting as well. High prices push government homes beyond average Nigerians reach. This is something of a report on the housing crisis.
There are figures in that report.
Yeah, there are figures.
The cost of housing government.
I really want to do that. I mean, I have a deep appreciation for this breakdown that the Guardian newspaper has done. So
fantastic report again from the Guardian newspaper.
So they're giving us the buildings and the price variations. So for a
government is building,
yes. Thank you. These are government houses, by the way. These are not personal properties. So building and the prices. A one-bedroom house cost between 7 million naira and 9 million naira.
One bedroom.
For one bedroom.
Not even in Lagos.
Yes, for one bedroom. Now,
even this price is not the houses government is building in Lagos. Maybe in Sokoto, in Kano, in Jigawa, far-flung part of Nigeria. But go on with the prices that government is building for the so-called poor people.
Please, Fuad. Like I said, a 1-bedroom house, 7 million to 9 million. For a 2-bedroom bungalow, it sells for about 9 million and 12 million. That is the range. And now for the 3-bedroom apartments now range from 13 million to 16 million. Now, Guardian went on ahead to tell us what the minimum wage was, right? Minimum wage is 30,000 naira. They're reminding us. And the number, I feel like they're trying to help us in an attempt to reconcile these figures. So, minimum wage is 30,000 naira. The number of poor people in Nigeria, according to the World Bank, stands at 95.1 million people. And only 10% of Nigerians that desire to own homes can actually afford it. Also, according to the CBN, if this was a foreign body, we can say that they're trying to, the cast aspersions. This is according to CBN now. 10% of Nigerians that desire to own homes can not afford it. Now, the federal government commenced the building of about 6,000 homes in 46 sites in 35 states.
Just 6,000 homes.
Yes.
How many Nigerians?
Yes, but only 2,870 units have been completed. Others are at various stages of completion. Fuad, you have the figures. I leave it to you to help us understand what is happening here.
See.
Oh my God. I'm stressed. I'm so stressed. What?
They were.
I'm so stressed.
We are joking, honestly, and I think it's just good that we tone it down. Let's just tone it down. Let's bring a bit of comic relief, because what else is the option now? Really, 6,000 something housing units constructed, just about 2,000 completed.
Yeah.
Across 36 states of the federation. Sage, I'm sure you know the Jᴏɪᴜ estates in Lagos.
Yeah.
At different parts of Lagos, from mile 2 to Ìpọ̀nrín, Sùúrùlérè. Even you go to Lekki, you go to Yanoba. Baba Jᴏɪᴜ, God bless soul for us, ruled this state. When you hear Jᴏɪᴜ this, Jᴏɪᴜ that, Jᴏɪᴜ that one, Jᴏɪᴜ Kìnìkan, everywhere. That man ruled, ruled Lagos for 4 years and 3 months. No, he didn't rule for 20-something years. Hey. And in one of my recent research, about how the man was able to achieve that big success when it comes to low-income housing in Lagos. And what I discovered from a lot of the old people that benefited from Jᴏɪᴜ housing scheme, from what he told me, was that you had a government that was just very intentional about achieving those success at that time. It's about government being very intentional. And look, out of all of the houses that the man built, you know that he doesn't even have one unit himself. But what do you have in this situation, Faith? You have a situation where immediately government starts a housing scheme. They first look at contractors who are politicians. They want to take care of their own interest to come in, the interest of commissioners and permanent secretaries and civil servants to come in, then the interest of politicians who are going to be contractors will come in. So automatically, at that point, the project becomes a problem. Now let us even go to the stories from the figures. A 1-bedroom for 7-point-something million naira. Sage, I can tell you clearly for free that the civil servant that can afford that home will be a civil servant that is not at the middle income level, maybe upper middle income level, to be able to afford a 1-bedroom. And you agree with me that a civil servant at that level will not buy a 1-bedroom.
Obviously, he would have a family.
So the 1-bedroom ordinarily you think should go to the lowest of the lowest.
Yeah.
The lowest of the lowest are the one collecting 30,000 naira minimum wage.
Yeah.
So how does that make any sense? If you understand what I'm saying. The 2-bedroom, look at the figures. Change. Fashola built houses in Lagos. Go and look at the figures, how much they were selling. So you know that the government is not intentional about fixing housing for the poor. There's nothing intentional about it. I have spoken with a governor before who told me that, what Baba Jᴏɪᴜ did is not possible again. That was Baba Jᴏɪᴜ's era. And I told him to his face that, sir, it wasn't as if there was no problem at that time. The difference between the likes of Baba Jᴏɪᴜ and the kinds of leaders we have now was that those leaders at that area were intentional about fixing people's problems. So when they sit down, they look at the problem, they come up with pragmatic, workable solutions to fix those problems. If they are the same corrupt, it's because at that time you had people who sit back and look at solving the problems of the people and bringing the dividends of democracy to the people. Look at the free education, the Jackonde school that was built at that time. You know, so it's being intentional that we don't have with our politicians now. And say the NHF, National Housing Fund, Chef and the Federal Mortgage Bank, as to how they are used, more than 20 to 50 civil servants that I had tried to help to secure homes from developers using the NHF. None of them have been successful. Not because those people are not contributors or they don't qualify, but because of the bureaucracy created by government officials working on the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. That is the reason why that thing has not succeeded. All of the applications have not succeeded. Not even one. Because of deliberate corruption and bureaucracy by the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria officials. All of those NHF deductions, are those money lying fallow there? Those monies have been diverted into personal use. And that's what the probe is about now. So until we get intentional and fight corruption, say, this issue of housing for all is going to remain mere sloganeering from our politicians. Nothing will happen.
Well, because of our time, we'll just have to read through the remaining headlines that we have. Lucky enough, these headlines are, the headline already tells the majority of the story. The headline that we have here on the front page of The Guardian, less than 1% of unemployed youth benefit from government intervention. The story basically tells us that of all the government interventions put forward with regards to tackling unemployment, only 1% of people actually benefit, and most of them have become entrepreneurs and they're taking care of themselves. Basically in that particular story. More headlines here. $800 million stock funds. Federal government directs CBN to settle foreign airlines backlog. Okay. I guess this is about the whole tax waivers are being also granted to foreign investors to woo them. So they're also paying them their money and they're telling them, okay, you might enjoy tax waivers amongst other things to boost. Anyways, CBN has been directed to pay the money.
With all this UAE problem now, people have come here, they've done their legitimate business.
Give us our money.
It's not the thousand that you come for. Pay them their money.
Well. Anyways, moving forward, that's on page 6 of The Guardian. Moving forward, Kano suspends another Casco director for alleged palliatives diversion. Okay, well, I guess the law is really starting to work as it's supposed to. Federal government moves NIMC to Ministry of Interior as issued NINT hits 102.4. Now, NIMC was formerly under the Ministry of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, but now there are speculations that it would be moved to the Ministry of Interior. And I say speculations because according to this report, there's no official announcement about the move yet, but it might be moved to the Ministry of Interior.
It should be a good one. It should be a good one, say. Yeah. Because, without the NIN, there are a lot of
exactly.
So your passport and a lot of
it just
harmonizes
it. Yeah, it just harmonizes the entire thing.
This NIN thing has become a serious racket.
Right.
To get your NIN done now. I had an experience recently when I took my...
Fuad, you cannot tell us that story now. We'll have to come back and tell us that story. The Nation newspaper, employers reject NLC's plan to shut down economy. Why it is avoidable. TUC awaits government action on proposals. This is about the hike in fees, by the way, and the plan by the NLC to protest. Now, NEMA alert flood to pound 50 communities in 13 states. Tinubu, Abiodun, others felicitate Alake at 80. Cooperate with lawmakers, Sanwo-Olu tells 37 commissioners and advisors. For what the inauguration has happened. Maybe when we come back for Mainland Focus, we can talk about that.
I'm not interested in that story.
Okay. Okay, then. Well,
the governor has simply told the commissioners cooperate with the lawmakers.
Yeah, just do what's expected.
They showed him shaking now. So.
Okay. Well, Fuad, we have to go.
Humble yourself before the
lawmakers. They show you shaking too. Okay. Well, that's it for Trends in the Papers. Thank you so much. Mainland Focus is open mic Thursday. You know what that means. You get to decide what story you want to speak about. But let's go on this commercial break. When we come back, it will be time for Mainland Focus at 8:40 a.m. Stay with us.